As every member of this committee is painfully aware, fentanyl is a poison that is afflicting every community across America. This poison is a synthetic opioid, 50 times more potent than heroin and 100 times more potent than morphine. Just 2 milligrams, equal to 10 to 15 grains of table salt, is enough to be lethal. The illicit fentanyl trade is a multi-billion-dollar industry. As we learned in the February hearing titled, Follow the Money, the CCP's business model fueling the fentanyl crisis, Chinese drug makers and money launderers are partnering with Mexican drug cartels to make enormous profits off the mass murder of Americans. Our country desperately needs not only stricter border security to keep the drugs and drug dealers out, but we also need to enhance the anti-money laundering systems in place to identify and stop those who are profiting. H.R. 3244 will drastically improve our anti-money laundering system to deter and detect fentanyl trafficking. This legislation allows Treasury Department to utilize its special measure authorities to target and thwart the money laundering facilitating fentanyl trafficking in foreign jurisdictions. It will help the Treasury to follow the money, so to speak. To date, the Treasury Department has not used its Section 311 special measures on financial institutions in foreign jurisdictions that have been facilitating fentanyl trafficking, despite reports from eyewitnesses, expert witnesses from Chinese professional money launderers, which hold and use legitimate bank accounts in foreign jurisdictions like Mexico to move the illicit proceeds of fentanyl trafficking. Our current special measure authorities can be tailored and rely upon the Secretary of the Treasury in consultation with the Attorney General, finding and presenting reasonable grounds for designation. Additionally, the use of a special measure is coupled with a notice of proposed rulemaking and a 120-day expiration date to ensure the public has time to comment, which provides public accountability. These special measures can be devastating to a foreign bank and sends a clear message that the United States will not tolerate foreign banks turning a blind eye to fentanyl money laundering. I sit on the fentanyl task force and a member of that, and this morning at our meeting, former Attorney General Barr, who was our guest for the day, suggested that putting pressure on the cartels is the best ways to do that is through the banks. I believe it's imperative that the Treasury utilizes existing authorities before coming to Congress to ask for new and even more expansive authorities. This bill helps them do just that. In addition to the use of existing Treasury capabilities, H.R. 3244 will streamline Treasury's suspicious activity report by adding a checkbox for suspicious narcotics trafficking. As stated in the GAO's report on virtual currencies, FinCEN officials told us they searched narrative SAR data for common payment methodologies associated with drugs, such as trade-based money laundering and other controlled substance terms, such as drugs, narcotics, fentanyl, and the names of cartels. In other words, without a narcotics trafficking czar box, the law enforcement approached czars like a game of Family Feud, with a category being named something related to drug trafficking. Structuring data via a czar checkbox for narcotics trafficking will prove anti-money laundering effectiveness in that the data will become easily searchable. A narcotics trafficking suspicious activity checkbox will reduce the chance that the IRS, FBI, or DEA will miss a relevant SAR. Currently, law enforcement must perform a keyword search and hope that those are the same terms and spellings that financial institutions used in the SAR narrative. These are common sense changes which will streamline law enforcement investigations and ultimately limit the burden on financial institution BSA/AML teams. I thank Chairman Barr and Reps. Nunn and Kim for joining H.R. 3244 as co-sponsors, and Rep. Pedersen for her support as the lead Democrat co-sponsor. We have no time to waste. This bill will have an immediate impact on disrupting the business model of the fentanyl trade. I urge my colleagues to support the bill, and with that, I yield back.